Hello. How you doing? What's up, buddy?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
This is Live Free and Laugh Hard. Got it right this week. I'm very excited.
Way to go. Look at you, big pro.
Thanks so much for watching us. If you enjoyed our takedown of Amy Schumer and Chelsea Handler, you will enjoy this as well. So thank you for the 900 people I think we have.
Yeah, we're at 900. Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, I said we'll be back the same time frame. So
consistency. All right.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Step one, we got it.
Can you explain to the viewers why you're dressed like a vampire?
Right. So for everybody that's like looking at this, right? I went and got my hair cut today. So that's why I got these locks and shit. For anyone who's like watching this one and then watched like the last one, the one before that, and they're like, he got skinnier and his hair got shorter. Like this one is before the other one. Like that's not actually true. I'm on a fucking shit diet of misery, and I just got my hair cut. But the outfit, right? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna dress like a hillbilly, and I went on to fucking Temu. Shout out fucking Temu. And I was like, okay, I can do this and this and this and this. And I was like, okay, add all of these to your card, okay? If you add all of these to your card, we're gonna give you something. We're gonna make it look nice, okay? So I added all that shit to my card, and then it arrived this morning. And I was like, that's cutting it a bit close, but like at least it came. And then I put everything on, and I was like, I don't look like a redneck or a cowboy. And then my wardrobe was like, listen, honey, okay, we need to make you look fabulous. We're not doing a redneck thing, okay. So that's why I'm dressed like this. And I had the hat. I had the hat for a while, and I kept it for this episode, right? And then I tried to put it on my fucking head, and I got these goddamn headphones on. So I just got to try and balance it like that for the next hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, like a Renaissance Fair attendee. You got that going for you. So that's good. I like the vest, though. The vest is pretty sick.
This vest is actually my own one. I won this in game poker many years ago, and I've just kind of kept it as a keepsake. I won a jacket as well, but I left that in Jersey. Somebody has that. It was probably in a thrift shop somewhere.
Oh, it's definitely given away.
Right.
On the street somewhere.
All this guy worded right now.
Yep. So before we start, we got to talk about Catherine O'Hara, who passed away recently. Oh. Comedic genius. Yeah, put the hat on. Put the hat back on.
No, if I put it on, it's disrespectful. So I'm just like pulling it there.
So people know her as Macaulay Culkin's mom in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And then others know her from Schitt's Creek, which is a show that was here for like 5-6 years, I think. 5-6 seasons on like Pop TV, which is a really shitty network for such a good show. But as the comedy nerd that I am, I know her from SCTV, which is Second City TV, a Canadian SNL show in the 80s. It was her, John Candy, Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, Eugene Levy. So all those really big Canadian comedians that we know, I grew up watching and other things, actually did a show together, which was, I think at that point, way better than what SNL was doing. This was after the original cast left SNL.
What year was this, roughly?
This was, I want to say early 80s, like 83-ish, 83, 84. And that was right when SNL made that turn, when everybody left and they had to start all over again, and it was garbage. So yeah. SCTV is something to look at. That was her big jumping point, and everybody else is John Candy, Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy. So that was big.
I'm just finding out that John Candy's Canadian.
Yeah, he probably was the most pro-Canadian celebrity I could think of. He owned the Canadian Football League team. That's Canadian.
He's the most fucking Canadian since what was the prime minister? Was Ford? It was smoking crack.
Not Tom Ford. That's the designer. What's his name? Doug Ford. I don't know if it's him or Doug's his brother who's doing shit now, who hates our current president of the United States. So Catherine O'Hara passed away. Rest in peace. Comedic genius. So sad. But what I want to say is this, though. We had that, and the Kids in the Hall, right? Oh, Jesus, no. You don't know the Kids in the Hall?
Another Canadian.
Jesus. Another
Arsenio.
No. The Kids in the Hall was another Canadian kind of like SNL that was in the 90s, early 90s. Had Dave Foley, Christian McDonald. It was awesome. Kind of like on the same level as SCTV, but obviously a lot more hip.
Okay.
Do we need another? Is Canada just holding back their comedy? Because I feel like we've kind of hit the jackpot with Kids in the Hall and SCTV, and we really haven't had anything since from Canada.
I feel like most of the really funny Canadians, like John Candy, for instance, right? And then you have Jim Carrey, who's an asshole. Just so everybody knows, right? Like, you're laughing, right? He's a piece of shit, okay? And I don't mind going on record saying this. Jim Carrey sold you this idea that he's this nice Canadian, fucking, I'm just like out here. I don't do Hollywood anymore. I do these patents. Yeah, because you killed a bitch. Just admit it. You just murdered someone, got away with it.
Allegedly?
No. Not even allegedly, right? The funeral, she was a girl from here, like from not like about an hour that way, not even an hour, right? She went over there, makeup artist, whatever. Put it this way, like, this guy is such a son of a bitch, right? That he said to the parents of the deceased, she committed suicide. Partially because of ongoings. You can look it up if you want. Like, all of this is right there. I'm just a little bit closer to this one than other ones. But he said to, like, the parents, I was like, I'll pay for the funeral, don't worry about anything. And then skipped out on the check and didn't do it. And I'm like, you're fucking... And then after that, he became the whole, like, you're a narcissistic cunt. That's what you are. Like, and go fuck yourself. Fuck those Ace Ventura movies. Fuck everything you've ever done. You're one of the greatest pieces of shit on the planet. And
except the Truman Show. The Truman Show was awesome.
Listen, all those things, they were good at the time. I was the biggest fucking Jim Carrey fan. Like, Ace Ventura was like my shit, right? And then you gotta look at it now. It's like, that shit's mad racist and transphobic. But it's like, it was really fucking funny. It was like dropping your ass funny, like all that stuff. Yeah. And you kind of look at this person like later in life. I don't know what changed him, but before he got famous, he had a fucking family. He just up and walked out on that. As soon as things started getting good for him, he was like, "Hey, about it." I was just like, no, like, so remove that one as the funny Canadian. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on I'm not aware of because I'm not too up on Canada, even though I bang one. But like, it's.
I love how you slipped it in there.
Yeah. Not that, like, when it comes to entertainment in Canada, they kind of have their own kind of thing going. Like, if you talk to a Canadian, like, they'll talk about like Canada TV shows and Canada stuff. Yeah. Because they all fucking love Canada. But like, I don't think not much of it dribbles down.
I mean, I think musically, we had MTV. MTV was kind of starting to do other shit besides music. And then Much Music came down here. Much Music is a Canadian MTV, and they actually did music. Like, what MTV did in the 80s, Much Music did, and they brought Much Music USA. They kind of had the same idea, which turned into Fuse, and then Fuse turned to Timu MTV, and no one gave a shit. There you go. So what you're wearing is Fuse Network, what used to be Much Music. So, yeah, I actually girl about Much Music, and she'll probably tell you it's awesome because everything up there is awesome. God bless Canada.
She might not agree, man.
I gotta talk to her.
She probably. She said to say, hey, sorry. Every time I go live, she's like, make sure you tell him I said, hey, like, keep fucking forgetting to do it because I'm always like trying to get hyped for the show and stuff. And like last time I was so nervous because I didn't do like one bit of research, but this time I've watched a whole lot of what we're to talk about.
Let's jump right into it. Today's topic is going to be the rise and fall of Redneck Comedy. To start the conversation, we're going to start way back in the 80s. And this is where the nerddom comes in. In the 80s, comedy started getting more decentralized, and everyone kind of had a specific niche in comedy. You had your smart comics, like your Bill Hicks, your Mark Maron's, early Mark Maron. You had your raunchy comics, you had Andrew Dice Clay, you had Martin Lawrence in the 80s and 90s. If you wanted silly comics, you had Judy Tenuta, you had Gallagher smashing fucking fruit on stage, which still gets me because the day I got fired from Sirius XM radio, he was there earlier. So the whole office, as I got fired, smelled like fruit. It was a weird day. So it all kind of started back then in the 80s and 90s. You had these centralized comedians, and that's where Jeff Foxworthy came in. Redneck jokes. Country boy who used to work at IBM said, hey, I'm going to be IBM and be a comedian and tell jokes about being a hick. hence we got Redneck Comedy. I'm going to start with Jeff Foxworthy first. What are your views on Jeff Foxworthy based on your copious amounts of research you did for this show?
I did. I actually, no, but for real, I actually once did. I didn't read anything. I was like, I want to go into this because I was like, right, I want to see it from the way that the other people who are watching this right now kind of view it. So I watched a lot of it. I watched the original and I watched Rise Again, and I got sidetracked into some of the solo stuff.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, there is, like, Foxworthy does seem like a dude who probably did work at IBM. Like, I didn't know that before this, but like, I now do. And there's something about that foursome that stands out a lot. I think when you put them all together, and they did something really interesting at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They put all four of them on the stage, and they just done like about like 2 minutes each, like roughly, all together. And Foxworthy was, you can just see how weak his whole routine. I think they just liked him, or Larry the Cable Guy just fucking. They just liked Foxworthy. It's like, you know when a band goes on tour, I don't mean like a big band, like I mean like the one that I've obviously failed the audition for here.
Yeah.
But they'll always like bring someone just because they like him, not because of any fucking talent or anything like that. Like he's almost like the George Harrison of the whole lot, like or the Ringo of the whole fucking lot. Like,
let's go Ringo. Let's not fuck with George Harrison.
Ringo.
That's my guy. Come on.
All right, Glenn, you can have George Harrison. Yeah, but he does feel like he's the Ringo star of this whole thing. I don't know, like when I watched it, and I don't want to get off because I want to talk about Foxworthy because he does deserve his time, but like, well, no, he doesn't, but like, it's a good place to start because none of the shows started with Foxworthy. If I was directing that thing, and I think anybody would have said this that would watch it, would be like, maybe just start with Ron and Larry for like a small, maybe 5 minutes or something, then go to Foxworthy because he's really weak against the rest of them. And he just doesn't have a whole pile to say that you haven't already heard before. It's like, it's the same thing. Like there was one I was listening to beforehand. It's like, it's hard to get through the Foxworthy bits. He was saying like what it's like to be, he was talking about like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. You remember that fucking TV show? Was on? Yeah. His wife likes to watch it. And he's like talking about that. He's like, you know, a friend pointed out to me that like, if you're, what was the premise of it? Is like, if you're married and if you're gay, it's like, if you wake up with all these like pillows on your bed, it's like, you're either married to a woman or you're gay. And it's like, okay, that's sure. Like,
well, I feel like that era is when it kind of like, you kind of started seeing like the fragmentation really start. And the blue collar crowd, I don't want to call them rednecks, the blue collar crowd really wanted to have their own thing. Before, people were like, yeah, I'm in the mood to hear some redneck jokes. I want to see Dice. Yeah, the Janine Garofalo seems kind of interesting. I'm listening to her. You know, and people were willing to kind of bop and go back and forth, depending on how they're feeling. I feel like at that time, you saw late 90s, I think that's when people were like, all right, I only like this type of comedy. Whether it be rednecky, whether it be profane, very profane, whether it be an Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton-ish type thing, or you want clean comedy, which existed back then. You had comics who didn't curse, which I still don't fucking get.
I don't get it either. But I feel like the way I kind of look at that whole show as a whole is it is kind of clean comedy, aside from Larry's bits. I don't know why he was allowed to do it, but nobody else was. It's if you look at kind of the thing as a whole, it's Foxworthy on his own. He's like a tape comic, like a cassette tape comic. Like so. Well,
and real quick, before all this, Foxworthy was the headliner of the Blue Collar Tour because he had triple platinum albums. So he was the guy.
That's insane.
So he was, I guess, because the comparison between Blue Collar Comedy Tour and original Kings of Comedy were there because he kind of started the Blue Collar Comedy Tour because of the Kings of Comedy. Jeff Foxworthy would be considered Steve Harvey of the crew, when Ron White would be the Bernie Mac of Blue Collar, which I think is the perfect.
I did 4 days of just Ron. Now, I've always loved Ron White, but I did 4 days listening to Ron White stuff consecutively, just like on my breaks from work and like when I'm doing other things. And I get on to him. I want to sing his praises later, but. What is a triple platinum album? Like, what kind of numbers does that have to do?
That is, and I want to look that up because I want to make sure I have the right number.
That's Foxworthy.
That's Foxworthy, yeah. Triple platinum.
That's insane.
Triple platinum, 3 million sales.
All right, he's not doing any Murphy numbers.
Okay, 3 million in the 80s was pretty big.
But like,
because nobody was buying comedy records and shit and tapes back in like the late 80s, early 90s. I was more like an early 80s, mid 80s type thing. Even further back than that.
I have a visual for him. I don't have words, right? So the visual for it is you and your little redneck family. You all get on your fucking right-on lawnmower. You put the family on the back of it. You drive to the shopping mall into the big city, right? Or maybe not a big city. Maybe it's in a town, right? No. You go in. You go around the mall, right? And then when you're done with the hunting shop, and when you're done getting some nice fucking lingerie for your sister, and then when you go to like the fish and tackle shop, you go to the music store to pick up the Willie Nelson. I know I love Willie Nelson, so I'm not going to talk shit about him. The Waylon Jennings album that you wanted for the last while.
Hank Williams, Hank Williams.
Hank Williams, perfect, right? Then you're like, oh, Jeff Foxworthy's here. I'm going to pick up Jeff Foxworthy. Why are you going to pick up Jeff Foxworthy? One, it's relatable comedy to you, like you specifically. I feel like Foxworthy is not as redneck as the rest of them. I think Foxworthy is kind of like just you live in that area, but you can pop that in the player. You can listen to it with your wife, with your kids, with everybody, and it's safe to laugh at that. While some of the shit Ron White says, like, you ain't going to be. You're gonna have an argument when you go.
As he's drinking scotch and smoking. But it's funny with Foxworthy because I grew up in that era where he got on TV and he has that Jeff Foxworthy show because he had 2 triple platinum albums. So they're like, oh, we gotta get this guy on TV because they're just handing out TV deals in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And the only joke I remember from watching any stand-up or TV show of Jeff Foxworthy was the Cool Whip joke. I don't know if you heard this one.
I don't think so.
Okay. I gotta do Jeff Foxworthy.
Do Jeff Foxworthy. Come on. You got it. Yeah, that's it, boy.
Boy.
Come on, boy.
Oh, boy.
You dance for me now, boy.
Jack Black in Most Def in Be Kind Rewind when he's doing driving Miss Daisy. That's what this is. Jeff Foxworthy. If you have a complete set of bows and they all say Cool Whip on them, you might be a redneck. That's the only joke I remember. From the entire Jeff Foxworthy catalog.
Every time I was like listening to like, you might be a redneck. I was thinking about things like, if you got some of the brothers hanging from trees, you might be a redneck. It's like just the R-rated versions.
Pretty sure he didn't say that.
No, he didn't. But it would have been funnier if he did.
That's like a Will Sasso Mad TV bit than anything else.
I have 100% thought it was a me bit. Actually, speaking of me bits, just cut away from it for 1 second, right?
This is where I lose my house right now.
We did 7,000 views on the Patrice video, and somebody had the nice. I don't know when you guys comment, even if it's bad, right? But somebody said, "Who's this guy? Who's this hack stealing jokes on a Patrice video?" It was me. It was a Jim Norton joke. I stole it. I'm not a comedian. I love that joke. More dead pilots than American Airlines is fantastic, right? That is a joke I consistently steal. I should have told you all I was stealing it, but like I didn't think anyone would even fucking remember. Here's the thing.
Unlike Amy Schumer, we're not stealing. We are
not stealing the entire show.
Yeah, we are memorializing these jokes.
Recycling. That's what I'm doing. I'm recycling.
That's perfect. Okay? Recycling.
That one. She said. And the last time that bitch was funny. She was going. I think it was they were talking about like Rain Pryor or somebody else who they dated. Who was just saying, I'm not saying that this happened. Like they say Patrice was fucking Rain Pryor. That didn't happen. But like if this was I just hypothetical, right? It was like the last time that bitch was funny. Patrice was, the last time that bitch had a funny bone in her. Patrice was still alive, right? I steal that joke too. I am a hack. I'm aware I'm a hack. I've said it when we started.
Look how
this
he's
podcast.
dressed. He's a hack. Look at him.
Clearly, yeah. Dressed like a new romantic. Anyway,
so yeah, for some reason, the networks love Jeff Foxworthy. Gave him a show. ABC canceled it. The NBC brought it back, canceled it after 1 season 2. So 2 seasons, 2 networks, no one cared. Haley Joel Osment was his son on that show too. Really, I forgot about that one. And then he did stand up, and I want to talk about how the tour came together because that's how we got to know, Ron White, Larry the Cable Guy. Bill Engvall was on his show, so he knew Bill through his show, the sitcom. I want to read from the great source of information called Wikipedia.
He's getting a sponsorship at this point, man.
And I really should. According to Foxworthy, he got inspired to make the tour when he read a review for the movie The Original Kings of Comedy, and noting that the review considered the movie appealing to more of an urban, hip audience, Black, which Foxworthy felt left out his usual demographic of rural audiences.
I was just thinking of how we actually probably read that. This is real. It appeals to the joggers. I'm not going to use the word.
Yeah, you know what word he meant, because
that fried chicken, I'll tell you that, boy.
The Kings of Comedy was built for us. It was not built for Jeff Foxworthy's 3 million audience members who brought his album. So he's like, we can do our own Kings of Comedy. I'm like, all right.
But Kings of Comedy, that was Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, Cedric Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey.
That's kind of funny because that almost lines up with the talent of this lot.
That was my point a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
The comparisons of 4 guys. You had the supposed headliner, Jeff Foxworthy, Steve Harvey, but then you had the actual headliner, Bernie Mac, Ron White. And then you had the other 2 guys who were just like, Cedric Entertainer could be your Larry the Cable Guy. And D.L. Hughley could be your Bill Engvall.
Cedric is kind of Larry the Cable Guy in a way. Like, Cedric ain't done shit.
Yes. He just finished doing like 8 seasons of a TV show on CBS here.
Like I said, he ain't done that important.
Listen, if a show's on for 8 seasons on a major network, you're golden.
Was he good?
Never watched the show.
I think that was kind of more my point.
I mean, also it's like him and his kids. It's like him, his wife, older kid, and stereotypical kind of like Archie Bunker type shit. Black family, nerdy white guy moves in with his wife, and then hilarity ensues. Cultures collide.
I love when I read the thing. It says hilarity ensues, and I'm still waiting for that to happen when the credits are rolling.
And the only reason I know about the show is because the blonde from Two Broke Girls played the white guy's wife.
Oh yeah,
Because I only know Two Broke Girls because of Kat Dennings. So we got Jeff Foxworthy. What are your thoughts on? I don't think you said this when we were talking to each other. Bill Engvall, not that bad.
No, I watched because I watched it before, like when I think me and you had talked about it one night, and I had known about Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And I had known Ron White, and I absolutely adore Ron White, but I didn't know Engvall, didn't know Foxworthy, and Foxworthy killed me like so much as I was like dying of boredom that I never actually got to Engvall. I just skipped to Ron White's bit. But like actually sitting down and kind of like digesting it as somebody would, I find it hard to. Even the redneck crowd, or the blue collar crowd, whatever you want to call them, I find it hard to even say that they're sitting there and they're looking at Foxworthy and saying like, "Oh man, he's funny. I really like him the same way I like my sister." Like, I don't think anybody's doing that. Like, I think, but then when Engvall came along, I was like, this guy's actually funny. Like, he had a couple of really funny bits, and he's kind of the same level of safe as what Foxworthy is, whereas like. This guy's just better. So Engvall and Ron White, I think, are actually 2 really funny dudes. I think the different styles, though.
Well, yeah, Engvall talks more about family shit and like his wife and his kids and like other things. And the "here's your sign" shit's hilarious. I love that part. Like when he's like,
Here's your sign.
"Here's your sign," because someone does something
I
stupid.
still don't get it.
Here's your sign.
I still don't
It's
get it.
kind of like calling someone a dumbass without calling someone a dumbass.
Okay.
So someone does something stupid, like usually it's like in a newspaper, like Florida man gets penis bit by alligator, and like, and you read the rest of the story. Man slept in bed with alligator. Here's your sign. So like call him a dumbass, but instead of saying dumbass, that's
I was kind of wondering about it. I felt like there's something I'm not getting here. It must be like an American thing.
no. And obviously Florida, you know, most of that shit happens in Florida, so I think that's pretty well founded. Larry the Cable Guy, Engvall's ancillary here. We have to go deep with Larry the Cable Guy because I have never felt dumber and least informed watching anything regarding Larry Cable Guy. Stand up, the 3 movies he made that someone paid to produce and make. There's nothing remote coming from wrong. Nothing remotely funny about Larry Cable Guy.
So I got some opinions on Larry. I think from a business standpoint, Larry the Cable Guy, Foxworthy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Engvall, but not Ron White, right?
Okay.
I think there's those 3 alone, right? Just them on their own. I think they're a very sellable product to a certain niche market. And when you think about like the urban types, right? That's like primarily
Black
joggers, East Coast and West Coast, right? So let's say like that's where the culture kind of grew from, right? You got this big fucking, it's like, hang on, let me go back here. It's like this size in Middle America, where like kind of nobody is like selling to that. So like if you got like 3 safe comedians, kind of like almost like in the Oprah kind of way, where like you can, or the Dr. Phil way, you can kind of sell this to all these guys. You can make a shitload of money back. And think about it, right? You can have them on daytime TV. You can have them on radio. You can have them on tapes. You can have them on VHS. You can advertise them in a mall. You can't really do that with Richard Pryor, can you? You know, the only kind of outlier there is like Ron White. And I know that somebody must at some point said, like, Ron, you can't do any of this material here that you normally do. And I'm sure he was kind of like, well, fuck that. They're like, well, we're going to pay you X amount. And he has talked about like making, like it kind of being boring, but he made like a lot of money out of it. He bought a plane, so he didn't really care. When you look at it now, right, there was a point where Larry the Cable Guy was the wealthiest comedian, like in all comedy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think everyone talks about Eastern Seaboard and the West Coast, and that middle America is always kind of forgotten about. Mm-hmm. But I also feel like there's a. I'm trying to make this as democratic and as political as possible.
Do you want to Texas me and I'll say it?
No. With his comedy, there seemed to be this dumbing down of Middle America. It seemed like he was the embodiment of Middle America, and Middle America, as this movie Witless Protection tells you, are idiots. They wear Bass Pro Shop hats, says "get her done," and then makes no sense and speaks in prepositions constantly. I feel like that's it for those people there. Like, oh, this is great. I relate to this. And I'm like, do you really? Do you really relate to this guy who seemingly seems like he's kind of making fun of you, but not really? But kind of.
Are we going full on Larry? You know,
yeah,
we're kind of done with it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
so
we got to focus on Larry. I think Larry's the biggest issue of the 4.
Honestly, yeah, right. Yeah. So when I watched Larry the Cable Guy, there was a couple times where I giggled. I was like, okay, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
There is, so I think again from a business standpoint, I'm going to get into his routine in a second, but from a business standpoint, it works on 2 fronts because you can sell Larry to people who find him relatable. But you can also sell Larry to the East Coast and West Coast as like daytime TV type stuff where you could just find it laughable because you don't relate to it at all. The most disturbing thing about Larry the Cable Guy is he doesn't sound like that.
No.
You don't live like that.
Yeah.
It's a character, and none of y'all knew it was a character. Maybe now, like I don't know if they're comedy fans, they probably like know it was a character all along. But like he made a lot of money. The thing that I found even more disturbing during his act was he would kind of go down this kind of safe one, right? And everybody on that show kind of had to play it safe because I know Engvall got some risky stuff and Ron White just forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
But Larry could kind of do whatever the fuck he wanted. He could say whatever the fuck he wanted on there. He went through all the usual stuff, which is like par for the course, essentially. But when you got down to it, then it started to get into kind of like, oh, you know what rednecks like? They like racism. So they started talking about Spanish people and then saying that, well, you know, like, if they're in this country, they should speak English. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you hear all the crowd go, ew. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Considering this is coming from someone who can butchers the English language consistently. But so there was like that, and then there was like the joke about his deaf brother writing a song.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it goes, little lad is, and I was like, that's a bit below the belt. Like, it's not very intelligent. You know, like, I could have kind of seen that one coming.
Well, you're talking, I know Dark Side of Comedy on Vice, they had their Andrew Dice Clay episode. Mm-hmm. And they talked about the crowd that started showing up to his shows. And it was like this rabid, kind of waspy-ish, kind of semi-white nationalist feel to his shows. Got the point?
They came armed.
Yeah. No, they came in like, you know, button-ups and like blazers and shit. They were real good white nationalists, like with real jobs and shit.
Like conservative.
Yeah.
You did say WASP.
Yeah, like Turning Point USA type of people, like those guys.
Okay.
But I feel like with Larry, his crowd turned into, like you said, into those rednecks who really want to make America great again. We're really into that shit. And that's what it turns into. And I feel like the blue collar tour as a whole kind of ushered that in a little bit. And not as entire. I'm not saying the blue collar comedy tour started MAGA. I'm not saying that. But I am saying,
look at you.
You saw sparks of it.
Look at you right now. You're just trying to be so.
I'm trying to like just be like.
What my friend here is trying to say is, although we're racist, we don't kickstart it. Yeah, right.
Because, like I said, comedy got to a point where, you know, black people wanted to watch just black comedians. They weren't willing to go out and venture out and check out a white comedian. Like Gary Owen being a white guy who is black, essentially. Gary Owen could go at any ghetto comedy club and get booked. That wasn't a thing back then. I feel like when we got to this point where we had the Foxworthys, the cable guys, the blue collar, everything was overly fragmented. Where 80s and 90s, it wasn't there were types of comedians, but people were willing to kind of take everyone on. White people love seeing Martin Lawrence, right? But black people there's a lot of people I know who's like, God, Bill Hicks was the truth. Holy shit. We didn't have that by 2000, 2001. Everything was so compartmentalized, and this is what happens.
I do kind of like feel that, but like it's like I don't think the civil. This is a weird. I want to say something a lot of people might not agree with, but I'm not going to be as democratic as you are about it.
We're really trying here.
Like if you look at like when Pryor came along, right,
mm-hmm.
and look at why he came out of like what was going on at that time, you got to look at like both like Sunset Strip and then look at the one in the 80s and really kind of sit there and say to yourself, did Richard Pryor give a marginalized people a voice in a way, or at least return a culture to them and introduce a culture to people that weren't there, but also to speak on topics fairly eloquently, like to talk about the truth in a dark room, as Joey Diaz once said. Because now to quote everyone, gets him a hack. So, like, to go to a dark room, to hear the truth, right? So then you have his following what it became is, and then it became a bunch of white people as well. So now they're getting, the white people are now starting to understand, like, the black experience, right? Not that I know anything about that, I'm a white guy. because I'd say that because I'm a hack. If you go and look at the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, I think as a whole, it's just a product. But in a way, I do think it kind of lifted up the blue collar or redneck ideals, if you want, or like highlight it in a way where people are like, oh, these guys get it, like they understand me. But at the end of the day, like I don't think Larry the Cable Guy is right. I don't think any of the four of them are racist whatsoever.
No,
because they're a gay black tour manager. I don't know if you've seen that in the movie. It was really fun. But like they're selling you a product of yourself, right? Where it kind of maybe of possibly being viewed as like, oh, Larry the Cable Guy is our Richard Pryor. You know, he's speaking on things and I think he might have just went down that route because of what way his audience started turning, which then you kind of got to wonder why the fuck you're doing this in the first place.
If you're going to switch it up like that and go, well, this is what they kind of want, I'm going to go that way instead of just sticking to how you started, your principles.
Yeah, you're kind of forgetting that. And like what I did notice was when it started to get dark towards the end of his set on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, the movie, I should say. And essentially what was kind of happening is after he would say something really kind of like fucking, he had this get out of jail free card afterwards, which is he'd just go, that ain't right. No, that ain't right. That ain't right. No, that ain't right. He'd just do all that. No, that's all right. That ain't right.
And he goes, get her done. All right.
Everyone goes, yeah. Which is like, I can just, do you remember that bit in like Django Unchained when all the clan guys, they got the eye holes and stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, if that scene was in real life right now, I could just picture someone at the back shout.
I can't see through this.
Yeah, like, I could just picture someone at the back screaming, get her done, you know? Like, so when it relates into, and this is the other side of it, it's like, not everyone in Mid-America is racist. Not every fucking Republican is racist. Not every fucking redneck is racist.
True.
It's an absolute made up caricature of a people, right? And that it kind of annoys me because it creates a bigger separation between us in this. And it's like, it's not that I can't like Larry the Cable Guy, because like I could like him if he was fucking funny, right? I love Ron White. But like if you looked at Ron White, you might think he has certain beliefs and whatever, and maybe he's racist. But that doesn't exist, and it creates this separation because the four of them are together and their audience. So it makes it really weird. Like I like Dice, I love Dice, right? But then you look at like would I go see a Dice show? I don't know if I would. Like I might be mad uncomfortable in that audience. Then again, I went to a hockey game and I wasn't mad uncomfortable. So.
Listen, I went to see Jim Norton. I'm like, this is not my place. This is not where I should be right now. Because
really?
Jim Norton has these, huh?
What?
Dude, there were how many black people at Jim Norton when we went?
We were in the nosebleeds. I couldn't fucking see, and it was dark.
Outside. You saw outside online. We saw I saw one other one, and I think we saw each other, made eye contact, went like, and that was it.
You did the black thing, like
yeah.
What's up? It was a mad like it was white people of a time and a place because me, you, and Travis started arguing about the best Pearl Jam album, and it was like we might as well have been there in '97. But yeah, I don't. I think Norton's a safer one than what like. Like the certain ones would be like Larry the Cable Guy, like maybe Dice. Well, I might get beaten up after a Dice show.
Listen,
like this.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you dress like that, definitely.
Yeah, fucking.
Real quick though, he did endorse Donald Trump in the elections. So,
who?
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry?
Yeah.
That's so surprising.
I swore he was an AOC guy. I'm just saying.
Right, AOC was definitely Larry the Cable Guy. Imagine Larry sat beside AOC.
I'm here for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I'm here for this one. She speaks good English.
Universal health care. Get it done.
What every American needs right now, whatever redneck needs right now, free health care.
Tax the rich. Get it done.
We've been inbreeding for a long time. We got health conditions. I'm talking. Imagine that's like an infomercial before Fox News. I'm Larry the Cable Guy, and I'm here to tell you we've been inbreeding for a long time. And what every American needs right now, more so than anything else, is free health care. That's why I'm voting for. I can't remember the fucker name properly, but that's why I'm voting for AOC.
Oh,
Sponsored. But
a commercial with Larry the Cable Guy and Bad Bunny advertising for AOC. That would be awesome. I would pay for that.
I didn't watch the Bad Bunny thing. I've just been seeing shit about it. Like,
So
we're all Bad Bunny fans now.
You're lucky you're not here right now because it's been a week almost, and it's been still talking about the shit. And I'm like, are we still here? We still discussing this right now, which is great for comedy.
Just real quick, where the fuck is Bad Bunny from?
Puerto Rico.
He's Puerto Rican.
So he's American. He's American.
Who gives a fuck? It's like you've never seen a fucking Puerto Rican before. Puerto Ricans make my day better. Like they do, right? I hear one.
But he's saying in Spanish, bro. He can't sing in Spanish. God forbid you can't do something in a different language.
Bro, like the only reason those songs are good is because I don't understand the lyrics. You ever heard Despacito? You ever actually listen to the lyrics of that in English? It sucks.
No, the beat is fire though. I want the beat of that song.
That's my point. It's like does the language really matter?
Well, it's different podcast. Final guy on the tour, Ron White, our favorite.
Mm-hmm.
He made the whole show for me. All three movies. First one especially because I didn't know who he was. So I watched the first one. I'm like, okay, Jeff Foxworthy. All right, Engvall. Okay, I know he was the sidekick on the TV show. Oh, Larry Cable Guy. Who the fuck is Ron White? Oh shit, this is funny. I was thrown out of a bar. I'm like, oh, gotta hear this. Let's get it. So thoughts on Ron White?
With the I just saw any Ron White jokes that but the one about I got like when they're all up there at the end, and Ron does his bit, you can see why he's so much better than anybody. Why he's a real comedian. He's not trying to sell you a character. He's just my name's Tater Salad. Like, you know.
You caught the tater. My son's named Tater Tot. What? Ron Tater Salad. What?
It's like so Ron does this. If you look at Ron's career, you can see an actual career of a comedian, right? Mm-hmm. Because you see at the beginning, like you can look at it, it's not the worst thing ever. Like you can see he has talent, but the thing is, he got progressively better. Like the more, like, if you were to listen to like album 1, album 2, album 3, album 4, it's like listening to like the rare time when a band just keeps getting better. Every album that comes out, like one that I kind of like Black Sabbath, right? If you're listening to all the big Black Sabbath albums, it's like shit. This stuff just keeps getting better up until like a point, right? But like Ron is like one of those guys where he kind of started out being, like, you can look it up. He's got like the mullet and he's the suit and stuff like that into this kind of cool like redneck where like he didn't hide the fact he made a bunch of money from Larry the Cable Guy and stuff like that whole thing, and I found that really fucking interesting. Because most people, like Larry would have to still be Larry.
Yeah.
Foxworthy still has to be Foxworthy. Engvall not as much. Ron could be just Ron. He didn't have to pretend to relate to you. He could still do his own thing. If you listen to any of his stuff, he's got killer fucking numbers. Like the whole way through, like almost consistently. He's not one of those guys that like starts on his best one or on his second best one and ends on his like best one. It's just kind of consistent run the whole way through.
Well, it's what we talked about last episode about the formula. You start hot, you kind of taper off, and then you end hot. No. Ron White is just banger after banger after banger constantly.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Because I almost think you expect the second movie for him to not hit the level of the first movie, and he still hit it. And in the last one, I feel like the stand-up was cut short where they wanted more of like the four guys together. So I think the stand-up was like 8 minutes each or something, like if you time it out right. And then the majority of the movie, the last ride or rides last, where fuck, was all four of them on stage a lot. But even his short time was still banger. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, and then I see him on podcasts. I'm like, God, he's really fucking good at this.
He's so good. But like he's one of those guys that like was born a comedian, and I don't mean to sound like trite or like fucking stupid with that. It's like he's just a good talker. You know what I mean? Like you could have a conversation with him about anything, and it would still be funny. And you could tell that the way that out of all four of them, he was the one that got up out of the seat and kind of enunciated and stuff like that. Like he's just one of those guys, and he's kind of like everyone's favorite guy at the bar. You know what I mean? Like when he tells the story, it's like everyone kind of gathers around to hear the story because you know it's going to be something fucking outrageously fucked up. And if you look at like the beginning, that there's a metamorphosis the whole way along, up until like I watched a clip from like last year, right, where he has the long hair now and he's divorced again and he's kind of miserable. And
3 divorces, it's very impressive.
And he's up there, he's doing a bit in Austin, probably at the mothership, I'd imagine. But it was just, it's more modern, but it's still just so Ron White. And it was like, I don't got a problem with gay people. I met a gay guy once at a truck stop, and he sucked my dick. And if you walk in at that moment, you probably think we're both gay, but well, he just said he was gay. I was like, dying. That's modern Ron White. You know what I mean? Like that's like, you know, he wouldn't have done that in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s. It's like Ron White is the exact amount of Ron White you need in that time frame, and it just worked perfectly. One of a really interesting one that he did, if you kind of want to get into like what the politics of some of these people kind of look like, is there was a show called Green Room. Do you remember this?
Yes, with Paul Pavanza, yeah.
Paul, not funny Pavanza, right?
Yeah.
Paul, the real hack Pavanza. Seems like a really bad.
I don't understand how comedian. I don't understand how a comedian can be so unfunny.
But still have a career.
Yeah, like you like, and like I said, I'm a nerd, so I just grew up watching this shit, and HBO was on in my house constantly. Even growing up, when I was 10 and thought everything was fucking funny, you watch him, you're like, this is garbage. Like, I'm turning. I'm gonna watch Steven Seagal run. All right, turn that shit on.
That's so funny. That makes me happy so much. So like if you want something, there's a really funny episode where Lewis Black and Ron White are both in the same room, right? And you think it's like
I didn't see that one. Damn it! I gotta check that one out.
You gotta check that one out. But it's too like Ron doesn't give a fuck about Dick. He probably has more conservative things, but he still doesn't care. Lewis is more democratic and really gets angry about things, and he's got an angry finger, right? I've read Ayn Rand once, and I think it's about fucking me.
He's such a shit.
Yeah. So like he's that. It's like two of the polar opposite, and it's just even funnier because one's called black and one's called white. I was like, couldn't be more perfect. So if you really want to like just get a look at it, kind of like what way this all shit leans. He's there. He's with another comedian who absolutely lost his career because he upset Joe Rogan once. I don't think he was that funny to begin with, but he was good at the craft. Oh shit!
Nope.
He was good at the craft. But he was there, and he did this bit that was they rhapsodized a bunch of like topics about I think it was like trans rights or gay rights or something like that, right? And he did it in front of like Ron, right? And because I think Provenza had encouraged him to do it, and he'd done it in front of and both were really impressed, right? But the thing that I liked the most was Ron was smoking a cigar, and he's like, "Listen, son, you put more effort in that one bit than I have in the entirety of this career." It's like, there you go. That's what it is. It's like it's not Ron trying to do anything. It's just Ron being Ron.
Like, Ron being Ron. And we see all four. Obviously, Ron White's the highlight. Engvall second. A distant third is either Foxworthy or Larry the Cable Guy, and then fourth comes the Larry Cable Guy or Foxworthy, whatever order.
I think Larry Foxworthy.
Yeah, I'll probably go with there because you said you did giggle a couple times during Larry's set. So
before I got really disturbed, I giggled a couple times.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't giggle.
And they were speaking Spanish.
So 3 movies, all the same formula. They each have their own sets, 10, 15 minutes, and they all get on stage together, tell stories together, blah, 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 blah. I didn't know the last one was just a TV special, like a Comedy Central thing. So they filmed it for Comedy Central. It wasn't like a movie like the other two were.
Yeah.
Altogether, the 3 movies and the tour, I compare it almost to like you had your blue collar comedy tour for the Rednecks. a certain kind of audience, as I stated before, and now that audience has converted or transformed into the mothership Joe Rogan universe. Is that am I pushing it, or can you see like a transformation?
No, I wouldn't agree really, because I feel like the Rogan verse and the mothership and all that, it's a very different crowd. I don't want to say, I think I'm giving them too much credit by saying they're a dangerous crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They're just kind of. I think they're kind of missing the point in the film community here. And I think like if you go back to the '80s, stereotypes were just real. You know, it was just like it's like this comedy's for you, and this comedy's for you, and that got kind of homogenized back then, and it kind of just dribbled out a bit more now. Where kind of like if you have conservative people, they probably are going to go with Rogan or the Rogan verse. I don't think everybody that goes there is like that. I just think that it's a platform. I do feel like though that there's a lot of, like myself, absolute fucking hacks that are getting away with it. Just because they're friendly with it. Like take the likes of like Kill Tony. You know what I mean? That's what Ron White was on. Sorry, it was that, but that's done in Austin, so I was actually. But that's where he did that bit on, and he was like making fun of Tony, which I can understand why he's like, I ain't seen a gay guy in a while. Last time I seen a gay guy was a truck stop, and he went into that joke, but he was referring to Tony being gay. So when you kind of look at it, it's a bit more like there was something really nice actually about sitting down watching Blue Collar Comedy Tour. It reminded me of like a simpler time when things were more innocent, and all of the bits were more innocent. Even Ron White's bit was more innocent versus like the bit I told you about last night, which is way more like, it's a little bit more cut. I think the Rogan verse, it's just filled with a lot of people who, like myself, I used to love it just for Joey Diaz. I didn't really care about anybody else. And sometimes like Rogan was funny.
Well, I mean, I liked Rogan only because when he had guests on, he would just let them go.
Yeah, it was
like watching David Lee Roth go for 2 hours. I was like, I'm happy he's here because Rogan's just gonna let him just go off for 2 hours. I don't want to hear your voice, Joe. I want to hear fucking David Lee Roth just talk about being a paramedic in the '90s in New York.
Yeah,
for 10 minutes.
But like, also, it's just like they could say whatever the fuck they wanted. Like it was like you could have like Charlie Sheen one was so good. Like they just let Charlie talk for a while, and it was like that. That's so nice compared to like the Saturday night shows and Friday night shows where it's like a scripted kind of a thing. Where you get the like, well, let me tell you a funny story about being on set with fucking Whoopi Goldberg. Like, I know what Bill Clinton was saying.
Yeah, and the host is there with the cards, like, so you spoke to Whoopi yesterday.
Yeah, like dumb shit like that. Like it's not an interview. Like you just plug in some fucking shit.
And you're just setting them up to tell a story that should be like 25 minutes long, but you condense it to 5 minutes and it's not that funny. It's the other 20s context.
Like I feel like I don't think that's where that Blue Collar Comedy Tour ended up. I think that ended up I think that time is just over. And I think like I don't know who like Middle America finds funny. Maybe it's Trump.
Well, that's why the title of the show is Rise and Fall, because you had Foxworthy was huge in the 80s and 90s. Larry the Cable Guy had 3 fucking motion pictures made. Ron White's still out there. Bill Engvall and Foxworthy still do a tour by themselves, which is not part of the Blue Collar thing because they said that was it, blah, blah, blah. But I do feel like that level, you said at innocent time. It goes back to innocent time. Is that the fall? Because you don't have an innocent comedy's not really innocent anymore. You don't have that innocence. You have like, you got to make a statement. You got to say something, logical and say something thoughtful.
Nothing is like it's because I used to have that precedent. Like when we kind of came into this podcast, it's like I like my comedy this way. I like it to mean something. I like it to be there.
Oh God, yeah, that argument we had multiple times.
Yeah, I still stand by that. Like I do like that, right? But I think I was thinking while I was watching it. I was like, what happened? Like you'd have to be an edgy person once upon a time to like just be like, nah, I just listen to Pryor. Like, I don't listen to anyone else, just Pryor.
Mhm.
Like you
Mhm.
kind of like you'd worry about that person. That's like someone who just watches Taxi Driver. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit fucking, you know. But like I think I kind of the only thing I can actually draw it to is just world events and audience, right? And the one I kind of like think about the most is because it's the one you can kind of see the most. I'm sorry if nobody knows anything about this, but like if you look at comic books from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000, right? It was like in the 60s, it was so fucking innocent and childish, and like the Joker's on the moon and bam, pow, whatever. And then you go into the 70s, and all of a sudden it's like dark, and Batman has to take 2 weeks off because he's got a broken knee. But it did, like, it started to bring up topics of like child murder, sexual abuse, like just different things. And I think because we have the internet now, because like the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was a time kind of before the internet, it's like you get information funneled to you at a pace that your brain can't keep up with.
Yeah.
And none of it's fucking good. If you want to like just absolutely just depress yourself, like just read the Epstein files. Just how fucking unbelievably insane that is. And then you have to sit there and realize the fact is like there ain't gonna be dick done about this. The bad guys just won, you know, and we keep buying their Temu products. Like,
but then to go from reading the Epstein files to go into get her done, it's like
that's it. It just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't. There's no audience for that anymore because we have had the heart and soul like burnt out of us in a way. And the only reason that you would go to like get her done is for nostalgia purposes. It's not for. You're not going to go see them now like the way you might go to, and like you can just look at kind of like the world around us. You kind of like this is really sad, but the 1,000-yard stare on everyone's faces these days because like we're kind of hurtling towards a big event or possibly mutually assured destruction or some shit like that. Where like nothing, it's almost like the 80s in a way. It's kind of just coming back around because we're beefing with Russia again, and we gotta get bunkers, and you know, like it's kind of like that thing again. If you look at the comedy from the 80s, it was different. It had changed from the 70s, and the 70s had changed from the 60s, but it was still in its infancy, almost in a way. It was still kind of growing. It has grown.
Yeah, but then that kind of goes back to we said the innocence left. So redneck comedy, that's good for the family. A couple shit words here, but nothing overly crazy. The Theo Vons of the world is taking that. They're taking that stage. I saw some of the Joe Rogan verse, like Theo Von, and insert any other conservative-ish bro podcaster here. I think that's where it kind of turned into. I feel like this kind of turned into that because society changed, and like we don't want that. We get the values, we get the understanding of redneck culture. But turned up 10, we want that now. And that's where everything is now.
I think if the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was actually to grow again and be like a profitable product, it would. I don't think there's enough nostalgia there for it. Now, there probably is in the older folks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think like it would probably for it to be sellable and like to have a divisive like audience for it, it would probably literally have to be the fucking MAGA Comedy Tour. Like that was the only way it would kind of work for me.
Kind of like the Kid Rock tour he's doing that no one's going to here.
That's fucking dope.
They canceled the first show already. I'm like, so the MAGA concert tour, no one's buying tickets for.
When I see that, I actually posted about it the other day because I see this like a bunch of old ladies, conservative old women who've never had an orgasm in their life, like jumping up and down to Kid Rock, and I was like, that is the sickest shit I've ever seen in my life. Get this fucking off my screen. So
we're talking. I looked up
like
MAGA comedian for a second because I'm curious about. You said MAGA comedy tour, and I'm like, what would be some of the names? So Theo Von was the name I mentioned. Tony Hinchcliffe would be another one. Kill Tony. Andrew Schultz.
I don't think Theo Von would be on that. Honestly, like if I'm being genuine honest, I don't think Theo Von would be part of that crew. Schultz probably. Again, not a funny guy. Who is the other one you mentioned? Sorry,
Hinchcliffe, Vaughn, Schultz.
Yeah. Sorry, another one.
Rogan, obviously.
Yeah. Like again, like, but they're not.
Gavin,
it would literally.
Gavin McGinnis. I think
That fucking piece.
he dabbles in comedy.
Again, like, not,
Anthony Cumia.
who would probably be the funniest person in the whole fucking thing. That's crazy.
I just say Gavin McGinnis. I'm like, Anthony. That's the other one.
Yeah, Anthony Cumia. Like, if you know something, right? If there was a MAGA tour, right? But I heard Anthony Cumia is going to do a set on it. I'm like, maybe I do have to buy a ticket. Like,
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, I might have to go. But like the rest of like Sean's just never fucking made me laugh. He's like one of those guys who's like you kind of reiterate like standardized racist jokes where he's talking about like if they go to war with China and they side with Taiwan. He had this joke. It's like, okay, just for one day though, just for this one time so we know who we're shooting at, just open them up. Come on, just open them up. Right? And I'm like, okay, who hasn't really fucking done something similar or adjacent to that? Yeah. Kill Tony, I don't know what to say about him. Like, there isn't much to say about him. Like, you were famous and have a show because of Joe Rogan and no other reason than that. I think the actual, like, the premise of his show is fantastic, but I think you're just too much of a cunt to be doing something like that. Like, no matter who comes up there, even if they're terrible, like, roast them for a little bit, but be nice about it. You don't have to be a fucking prick about it. Like, it's like when I look at that, it's like, fuck, like, let me go see Larry the Cable Guy. Like, that's better than this shit.
I think Schultz is not pissed at Trump because of the immigration policy and ICE. So I'm like, is Schultz really one of those pod bros, or is he just like, yeah, I thought it was funny, I thought it was cool, and I don't like what's happening now, so I'm not a fan no more. Like, kind of goes where the wind blows constantly all the time.
I think Schultz I think he's just kind of entitled, and that's kind of why he is where he is. I've never found his show funny. I think Hinchcliffe is the only person I can say who's actually 110% MAGA. He would be there, which is funny for a closeted gay man. But yeah.
So, what's the lasting legacy of the Blue Collar Tour and Blue Collar Comedy with these four guys? Obviously, Ron White's still out here in the zeitgeist, still appearing on podcasts, talking, but you don't really hear from the other three. The other three are kind of doing their own shit and very quiet.
Ron is like fucking the fucking Gandalf of comedy. Just keeps coming back better.
He's supposed to retire apparently, and then COVID happened, so he couldn't really retire. Have his going away.
Yeah.
And then COVID ended, and he's still on tour. I'm like, wait, so
he's not going anywhere.
You stopped drinking. Thanks.
It was really cool.
Huh?
Yeah. Like, that's really cool. I'm happy for him.
But like, when are you done? He's old. He's the oldest of the four.
Never.
Like, when's he stop?
Do you know what? Like, I don't think comedians really stop. Like the same way like artists don't really stop. Like I got half done painting behind you. Like I'm gonna be doing that till I die. Like I know I will. Even though like I have this hatred for it sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's like he's a real fucking goer. I think like Larry the Cable Guy wanted to make a lot of money. He made that money. He doesn't need to do it anymore. I don't think we're missing anything out of the spectrum because of that. I think like Ron will just go until he dies. Even if he retires, it'll be for like 6 months. Then he'll be back doing sets at fucking Caroline's or something.
Yeah.
But I suppose that you just said there that the lasting legacy of it, I think it's probably something that we're kind of going to look at in the same way that we kind of look at like a time before 9/11 almost. Like it was just, remember that? And then people are kind of like, no, I actually don't.
I don't remember that at all.
And that's not meant to be even funny. It's like, It's like, do I remember that time? I was there, but like, how much do I remember? Like, not a whole pile. Do you remember the feeling? I was like, yeah, the feeling was the world's my oyster and the future is so bright and could do anything. It's like, it's just the chill nature of that whole thing is kind of almost encompasses that in a way where maybe it should be just kept as like this relic of a time that kind of like gone by. 4
dudes on a stage with bar stools just talking in front of other people is like, Well, we don't really see that anymore. That's like a thing
No.
anymore. And
You need to bring it back.
And they had I forgot they had the TV show. They had Blue Collar TV here, which wasn't funny. Ron White was on like 2 episodes. He would pop in here and there, but he wasn't like a every week character. So I feel like you had that, and so like we took Blue Collar Tour. Once again, TV fucking shit up. Let's turn it into a TV show and do like sketches. And I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So you're taking what they talk about in their bit in their stand up and turning it into 3-minute sketches. Like it didn't work.
No, I can't. I don't know who sat there. I think it was just like, let's do it for one because they're all going to go all in on the pilot and we'll make a bunch of money off that. If it's good, great. But the pilot's the main thing that we just need, you know.
It was on 43 episodes, 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
This was on the WB, which, you know, the WB network was shit anyway. So that was the other issue.
It was flying the flag for the WB network.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I think you look back and go, yeah, that was cool. You remember Ron White. Mm-hmm. You despise Larry the Cable Guy. Mm-hmm. If you grew up in the 90s, you knew who Jeff Foxworthy was, and was like, oh, okay. And Engvall was just there for the ride. Engvall was the friend.
Yeah, he was. I wonder if it was just kind of like a ship for us all to know Ron White, if we're looking at it as like a destiny thing. But it's a relic of the past. And like, so what? Like, if you haven't watched it and you're watching this and you just listen to it, go watch it. It's not the worst thing that we've talked about on this show. Like, it's very serviceable. It comes in, it ebbs and flows, right? And for anyone who doesn't know or who wasn't there, that was kind of the standard of comedy at the time. Like, I think a lot of like Irish comedians, they did similar things. Like, they'd have the sketch show and then have the stand-up one, like, which like I can't show you because you're not going to understand the fucking thing they're saying or get what they're talking about. But it was really funny, but that doesn't happen anymore. It's like there's too much. Like we said, like the innocence is just gone. Because like at the time, even with all those really kind of like close to the bone, fucking Larry the Cable Guy jokes, it was like at the time, it was still just innocent. Mm-hmm. It didn't mean anything. Like you knew Larry, and I don't think Larry's a racist. Like I don't believe that whatsoever. No. I think like in that audience there was pepper racism, right, or slight things. But again, it was a simpler time where you could talk about shit like that. Like you could make those jokes. Now it's just too incendiary, and people maybe ask, like, well, why? Because like even back then it was a less known thing, but like black people were being shot for basically fuck all reason. But now it's like it's gotten even more fucking extreme. Like you think of like the George Floyd thing. It's like, could you really do a tour like that and then not have somebody mention it? Or even just 9/11, like just all this other shit where it's like the world is too fucking serious, you know?
Whereas when they started Blue Collar, it was like 2 years after 9/11, so they were like the release from it.
The release, yeah. So
everyone's like,
okay, comedy.
Exactly. It was a good, clean comedy. No conversation about 9/11. No conversation about anything. It's just have some fun. Now we can't have fun now. Everything's like the world's gonna end. It's over. We're done. But let's tell it. Hey, here's your sign. Like, yeah.
Here's your sign.
So that's the rise and fall of Redneck Comedy. I think we're ready. I think we're ready for the next topic. I think we got the jitters out.
Okay.
I think it's time. Richard Pryor's next.
Oh, you already announced it. Okay.
I'm announcing it now. We're doing it. Next show, Richard Pryor. We did Richard Pryor has like a pilot for us just to hear it.
Yeah.
Hear how we sounded.
I thought that went live. He told me, it's like, we need to do Pryor. I'm like, we already did fucking Pryor.
Yeah, we did it literally for us. Just like
cutting shit work. That didn't go live. The first one we did fucking Cosby. What a way to start.
Cosby was rough. I might actually re-up because that was uploaded just the audio part.
Yeah.
I might make a video of that with like the statics image and put that up.
You know what one done the worst was the Saturday Night Live one. It has like 40 views.
Yeah, no one cares about Saturday Night Live.
Nobody cares. And you know what? The whole time through it, I'm like, as we're talking, I'm like, I really don't care about Saturday Night Live anymore.
Well, you know, and for me, that was like and Richard Pryor hosted. That's when Chevy Chase said the N-word to Richard Pryor, and
And I said it to you. Remember that?
Yeah,
In Jersey City.
I think we reenacted the whole scene. I think on my birthday.
I'd rather than say "Dad honky," you said it. You got your one.
And you only get one.
I tried to bargain for other.
Actually, I'm gonna miss you. My birthday's coming up, and I found a new arcade to go to in Jersey.
Shut up.
Right near your old town you used to live in. They opened one up that serves alcohol too, but like a lot smaller than the arcade.
Linden or Belleville?
Belleville. It's in Bloomfield.
Oh, yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, so that's my birthday trip this year. Speaking of getting you say the N-word on my birthday.
Yeah, go fucking axe throwing, because there's an axe throwing place near there as well. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's that Spanish bar I used to love to go to. They got like the best fucking. I don't know what way they do the beer there, but they do it with the lime and the fucking salt, like tequila beer, and it's just like the best one I've ever had. But they got some banging tunes.
Yeah, I think the place we're going to closes at midnight, which sucks. So I'm like, we'll probably end up going someplace else later. So that might be the place then. So
we'll because that place, like I think I walked out there at like 4 a.m. or some shit.
Yeah, which I don't. Yeah, those of you who don't know, there's a place called Barcade in the New York, New Jersey area. Old school video games, arcade type, beer selection unmatched. And my solution was to go look at a menu and pick the beer with the most alcohol content inside of it, and proceed to throw up at the end of the night, like every year.
We talked about this last episode as well. Just
so you know. Holy shit!
We actually talked about this.
Oh, so every week we talk about my alcoholism. Awesome. So that's the plan that we're doing here. But yeah, next show, Richard Pryor. Like I said, we did a test run on that. That was never released. I think this time we're more seasoned. Kind of.
I'm gonna wear blackface next time.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The views and opinions of Thomas does not reflect the views and opinions of the One Podcast Network and its affiliates. Yeah, put that out there. So, as always, thank you so much for coming on, Thomas. Appreciate you.
Yeah. It's my fucking show, too.
My hetero life mate.
Hetero life mate. I don't even know what that means.
I said hetero life mate. My hetero life mate. You're my hetero life
sorry.
mate.
I thought you said hetero wife mate. I was like, what?
Wife mate? What the fuck does it even mean?
You're looking for a wife? I don't know. You're just dangling me out here. It's like, I know you want to fuck him.
And here's where his internet starts fucking up right here now, too. Perfect timing. We will see you, Richard Pryor episode, Live Free, Laugh Hard. We will see you next time. See you later.